So you're back on here in the episode of the Indigo Podcast, and today the title of this episode is questions. So I think in life you kind of can question yourself a lot, maybe for good things or good reasons per se. Maybe that's a better way to say it, or maybe for not so good reasons that are kind of just making you stagnant. But this is a later recording. It's like 7:06 because this whole day, this just happened, so I don't know. I just want to share it, but the vlog that just dropped yesterday, if you're watching this on Monday, obviously, it took like all, because I said it like, because I finished editing it at like early this morning, early this morning, and I let it like render while I was cleaning my house or whatever, and it kept saying failure to export. I'm like, huh? So I was like, yeah, it'll export. It didn't export. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to save it to my cloud. Because if you use CapCut, that's what I used to edit. You can save it to a cloud if you have like the cloud membership thing. And I just saved it to my cloud so I could download it on my phone. So I could actually, get the episode out to y'all. And I was at like 80% and my mom texted me. So I went to go reply and then it restarted me. So I had to like take off smart HDR and all the extra stuff that was making it take longer, but it just came out. I'm grateful that it came out because I ain't gonna lie, I was stressing a little bit. But anyway, other than that, that's why I have so many lights on right now, because there's like no daylight outside. So anyway, other than that whole extravaganza, first thing I want to go over in terms of just questioning yourself is purpose. So like, why do you do what you do, and what is your purpose, and what do you want out of this life? And I think your purpose doesn't shift at all. Maybe the way you follow that purpose and the things, not necessarily the things, but the mode and the approach you take with that purpose may change. But the purpose that, when you really identify, I guess, what your passions are and what you like and what you dislike and your goals and your anti-goals, obviously that shouldn't change. Now, like I said, the way you do it, and because the thing is, I think we'll never get it perfect the first try. There'll always be trial and error. There'll always be things that, habits that we have that don't serve us well, like overthinking and, overanalyzing things and over questioning yourself, if it's even a word. I just made it up. But I think if you question yourself too much, you're going to not be able to identify your purpose, and you're going to be clouding your purpose, and you won't be able to identify it, like I just said, kind of. But you just won't be in tune with what your whole goal and what your why is. And I think when that gets clouded, life starts getting dicey, and you start questioning the simplest things, and you start doubting yourself. And if you doubt yourself, doubt is really only dangerous when you doubt yourself. When you start doubting yourself, like, I don't really know, because obviously doubt will creep in, but when it becomes a complex, that gets dangerous, because no, who's gonna pull you out of that? Because it's you versus you. You're literally fighting yourself. And honestly, well, this isn't really off topic, but I think a lot of times we fight ourselves. It's not us beefing with others, or us having issues with our teachers or whoever is in our life. It's really just us. It's our perception. And I think perception is anything, because if your perception is warped, especially of yourself, how do you expect to progress and, talk yourself through? Obviously, you'll get guidance from others, because we don't know everything. But, when it comes down to moments where it gets tough, like with whatever you're doing, when you're following your purpose, who else is gonna really help you when you're down, when you're alone? You know what I'm saying? And it's just one thing I was thinking about earlier, just having positive thoughts. Because one thing with me, I've realized just personally, when stuff gets dark, I start telling myself things that I'm not. That I just start making up things that don't even exist, and start getting in my own way. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want y'all to do the same thing, because honestly, it's kind of dark, because it's just like you're beating yourself up for what? It's no point. Like, nothing is there. The only person that's creating that is you. And that's dangerous, because the thing is, no one really knows what goes on in your head unless you tell them. So I just think if you're trying to fight yourself and, kind of trap yourself in a way, you can't follow through your purpose, because you're making yourself seem like an imposter to someone that you really are. You know what I'm saying? So, just identify. I think with purpose, like I said, the way you approach it changes. But I think this is when you identify your goals, your anti-goals, and your passions, things that you're not willing to sacrifice, things that you're willing to sacrifice, and things that kind of catch your eye a bit. Like maybe you're into running, maybe you're into powerlifting, maybe you're into making music, and maybe your goal is, oh, I want to, show other people what they're capable of, and you can use that as an avenue to do that. So I just think in terms of like, the title questions, because I just think, a lot of times we question ourselves and we kind of talk ourselves out of doing things, not even out of doing things, but we just beat on ourselves for what. Like the thing is, because the thing is, if you're beating on yourself, not hopefully not physically, but mentally, that's not good either. But mentally, I mean, and you're not, a lot of people, me, I don't like boggling people with my problems. So, it makes it feel like the world's about to end. Like, but in reality, it's not. It's just you trying to fight yourself for what. You should be your biggest support. Obviously, there's going to be times where you might be mad something didn't go your way and you got to get over it. But it's just identifying that, you should be your number one biggest fan. You should be the one that, stays positive and keeps the light, so you can actually follow your purpose and, follow your passions and things that you really want to get after. But anyway, first thing, purpose, just identifying what you really want to do, what your purpose or passions or your whole, I guess, what you want to get out of life type thing is. And yeah, like I said, just what do you want out of life. But anyway, second thing I want to go over is identification. Basically identifying the difference between second guessing and intuition, and not overwhelming yourself with paralysis by analysis. Because like I kind of said earlier, if you battle yourself and you belittle yourself and you make yourself seem, oh, I'm not as consistent as I think, oh, I'm not as ambitious as I think, or whatever, just random stuff that creeps into your head, this just puts you in a mode of paralysis by analysis. You're like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And, what do people think? And blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's not the way to go, because it just makes you freeze and waste time that you could have spent, maybe with family, or maybe with editing a video, or whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, I think a lot of times we have intuitive thoughts that, we know is right. You just know, like, common sense, and you just know that's the right move to do. But a lot of times we get kind of scared. We're like, oh, what is this person gonna think? What is society gonna think? What's gonna be the outcome? Am I gonna fail? How many times am I gonna fail? Just stuff like that, just the unknown. And I just think identifying the difference between intuition, knowing deep down what you want, and second guessing. And I've had a lot of experience with second guessing, because a lot of times, like for example, a test, you'll be on a test and you're, going through the test, obviously, and you'll circle one answer. You're like, I think that's the right answer. But then you're like, I don't really know. You're not really confident. So you circle something else, and then you get the test scores back. And like, oh, that's the exact question I spent time saying, oh, I knew the answer, and then you switched it. So I think a lot of times we know what to do. And obviously, like I said, we don't know everything. We should know everything, because, what would be the point? You got to learn. But I just think a lot of times I've experienced, I still experience it every now and then. I'm trying to get out of that. But you second guess things and you spend time looking for answers that you already know. And what's the point of doing that when you can learn more information? And, it's really no point, because what are you looking for? You're just spinning your wheels, kind of. And I just think, I'm not really sure why I would do that, to be honest. I think maybe it's like a sense of control, maybe like a sense that and maybe a sense of fear, and something that you just kind of dealt with in the past that you're kind of trying to push away, and maybe just a sense of trying to get appraisal from others. Just you're second guessing yourself to adhere to what other people are saying, maybe. But second thing, just identifying the difference between second guessing and intuition, because I think a lot of times intuition can save you from whoa, English is hard. Save you from some bad spots in life, and it can honestly just save you from wasting time doing things that really don't serve you well. And on the other hand, second guessing, you're not as confident, you're a little bit shaky, you're a little bit like, shaking in your boots a little bit, like, I don't really know. But you just do it anyway, because you're kind of doing it out of fear, maybe fear of failure, or just fear of just kind of dealing with yourself in a sense, But third thing I want to go over is, what do you really want? And I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this a bit more when I was younger. When you grow up, you're still trying to like mold as a human being. But I just think in life, I've realized that more recently that, as I grew up, I would kind of not do things for the appraisal of others, but someone might do something and say something, and I might think I have to change because they're doing something differently to what I'm doing. Reality, what do I really want? What do you really want? Do you want to run? Do you want to lift? Do you want to do art? I think as time has progressed, people have understood that people are different. People do different things. People walk different walks of lives or whatever. Life. Let me preface life. I'm crying. Life, and people are just a little bit more personalized. Obviously, I mean, everyone's different, but there's still a couple people that might, talk down on people for doing something different. I might call them weird or a nerd or whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is your life. I mean, it might sound corny. I mean, I'm telling it to myself too, just, me and you. But you got to really identify, what do you really want? What do you really want to do? Like, you shouldn't have to go to that college just because people are trying to force you to go. You shouldn't have to eat this way just because people are trying to force you to eat that way. You shouldn't have to wear those clothes just because someone's trying to force you. You shouldn't have to listen to, I don't freaking know, Ice JJ Fish if people are trying to force you and you think that's trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what I really wanted to make 2025 about, just doing things that I really wanted to do and doubling down on, me. And I just think questions are a big part of that, because when you question yourself, I guess the right way, in a sense, right or wrong, I think right or wrong is subjective, but you question yourself in a way that's beneficial to you. You identify spots that you missed in life and things that you pushed away that you really wanted to do, and things that you told yourself based off what you've seen or what you've heard or just the complex you had in your head. And I just think if you don't really identify what you really want, you're going to be living someone else's life. And I just think, this doesn't really go with this, but I just wanted to kind of mention it because it's in my head. But just patience, because one thing I'm in the middle of recently, I'm in a bit of a plateau with the smile. And if you watched the vlog, I kind of went over it. I'm not gonna go too much on a tangent, but it was just in my head, so I just want to give y'all a raw feel of what I'm thinking. But pretty much, like, this is just a plethora of being patient, a plethora of the epitome of being patient. I don't know why I thought of plethora. I don't know, big words. But anyway, I started out the season, ran the 2 mile, hit a PR in that, then ran a 5:11 in the mile. Next meet, ran around the same time in the 2 mile, ran like 11:20, ran a few seconds slower. Ran 5:11 in the mile. Last meet, ran the 800 for the first time, and who God knows when, officially, been like a year or so. Ran 2:12, big PR. Mile, guess what? 5:11 for the third time. Now, I'm not gonna lie, after this, like I kind of mentioned in the vlog, it's a bit discouraging because, you're being very consistent. Obviously, I think sleep could maybe play a part. I just now started, because I think, honestly, the only thing that I could say that I need to work on in terms of athletically and just as a human being is sleep, consistent sleep. And I just now started implementing that, like, consistently, because I got the schedule down. You know what I'm saying? Because I just realized that if I'm not sleeping enough, I won't be recovering. I don't want to make it about like that type of avenue, but it just is in my head. But anyway, the point is, just because I'm not, PRing every race doesn't mean sub 5 isn't in reach or whatever the case may be. It's just a thing of being patient. I think when you're patient with yourself and you give yourself time to allow greatness to happen, you can identify what you really want. And, you give yourself the space to think, and you give yourself, well, obviously you don't want to think too much to the point where you just freak yourself out and you don't do anything, but you give yourself the time to reflect and just absorb everything and just be present. Because maybe I was just trying to, but the thing is, I'm thinking about, like, if I ran sub 5 first meet, how would I feel about that? I probably would feel the exact same way. So I think it's better that it's happening this way, because I'm realizing, okay, I'm still progressing in other ways, but just not the way I want to yet, and I just have to wait. But I just think patience gives you the space mentally and the capacity mentally to identify what you want. And it might be scary, to be honest. Like, one thing that was scary for me was going on a lean bulk recently, and that's something I really wanted to do. I really want wanted and still want to. I mean, that's why I'm on a lean bulk right now, and I'm, making sure I'm progressing or whatever the best I can. I was scared of lean bulk, so I was just like, I never done that before. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of a little bit intimidating for me personally. So I was like, you know what? Because the thing that got me was I wasn't progressing on my lifts, and obviously I want to build muscle, so I want to progress. So I had to, one day I was lifting, I was missing my lifts. Obviously, sleep plays a role in that because I'm running on top of lifting too and stuff. But I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it and just see what happens. And there's obviously other things in my life that I may want to do. Like I kind of mentioned the pescatarian thing a while ago. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of for the birds right now. But it was just something that was in my head, so I just wanted to let y'all know. But anyway, I just did it, and I'm progressing. I'm getting stronger, and I'm staying still pretty lean. So I'm getting what my goal is. So I just think it gives you the space, the capacity, and honestly, just the vulnerability within yourself to say, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna just do it. And even if it's scary, I'll just go for it. But anyway, fourth thing I want to go over is being confident in your approach, just staying true to your decision and not worrying about others' opinions. And I'm not gonna lie, it can be very intimidating when you see people doing things differently, and people might have different viewpoints, and you're just kind of seeing what other people are doing. At the end of the day, I think confidence is a really big thing, because belief comes before ability. If you don't believe in something, you're not going to have the ability to carry it out. It doesn't matter how much training you do or how much practice you do. If mentally you're not there, and mentally you're not confident enough to follow through, I don't think you can fully follow through, because you won't be appreciative when it happens. You won't even feel worthy enough within yourself of the accomplishment you just set out, So I just think being confident in your approach and doubling down on it and be like, all right, this is what I want to do, and not letting anyone sway you any other way just because this is what they think, or this is what society thinks, or this is just what the norm has been, or this is just what the standard has been the past years just for society. You have to double down and be like, all right, this is what I want to do. I might look weird. People might think I'm kind of goofy, or they might think I'm a certain way or whatever, but you just got to keep going. I mean, like just for that, with that mile, for example, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit discouraging, but at the end of the day, there's more miles to log. There's more, minutes to share with others. There's more days and, hours or whatever metric we use. There's more time to keep building and keep being consistent. Eventually it'll play out the way you wanted it to. Even though the mile isn't budging right now, maybe next Thursday I'll run sub 5 or run a PR. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going to keep showing up and just see what happens and try and improve in ways I can. And I just think just trusting the process and being confident that you can do it. And I'm not going to lie, it might get dark sometimes, but, I think this is when, tying it back to identifying the difference between second guessing and intuition, when you really go at your intuition, what your heart is telling you to do, and you're like, all right, this is what I want to do. Confidence will follow that, and then it'll follow ability. And then before you know it, when you're consistent with that, the work will show. The fruits of your labor will be apparent. So I just think, I'm not gonna lie, with social media, it's really easy to worry about other people think, and just worry about what other people are doing. At the end of the day, what is your experience? What are you doing? I kind of struggle with this every now and then, but I think it's realizing if you don't have yourself, if you're not grounded into what you're doing, what else is there? Because at the end of the day, when that screen goes down, when you go to sleep, it's you. It's just you. Obviously, there's people around you, but it's your life, it's your experience, it's your being. But fifth thing I kind of want to go over is just sitting down with yourself. I'm not gonna lie, the main area I think of my life, like a lot, like dive deep into my life and just what I'm thinking, is on walks. So I don't really sit down on myself per se, but I'll think about things that I want to do, and just honestly, I think this goes with this perfectly. I was on a walk this morning, a 30-minute walk, and I was just thinking, one thought that popped in my head is, honestly, just me personally, I think a lot of people do this too. We worry about so many things that are so meaningless and so minute in the grand scheme of things that we should actually be worrying about. And we honestly just give ourselves anxiety over stuff that means nothing, about things that haven't even happened yet. And one thing I saw on Instagram, I was driving, well, not driving, but I was riding in a Lyft the other day, on the way back from the gym. I think it was Saturday, I believe. Yeah, I had pushing core that day, if you were wondering. But it was this clip of Michael Jordan, and it was saying, he's the best. He was considered, and he still is considered, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And at that time of the recording, in the world. And pretty much he was just saying how it's not necessarily his athletic ability or maybe his mental toughness or whatever. It's really just his ability to be present at all times, And it was just saying, it was one thing he said. He's like, why am I worried about a shot that I haven't taken yet? And I kind of digested that, but not fully. I haven't really sat down with it like alone, but that's true. Like, why would I worry about a race I haven't ran yet? Why would I worry about if I'm going to PR or not? Why don't I just go out there and see what happens and just lay down a good effort and just see what happens, At the end of the day, if you're being consistent and, maybe when the sleep, I keep this good sleep train going, maybe it will happen. I think that's the only thing I really have going on. Maybe some mental things, you could work on. Other than that, basically what we're saying is like, why would you worry about a shot you haven't taken yet? Why would you worry about the future instead of staying in the present? Why would you worry about the past that already happened? Why don't you stay in the present? And I think if you're not in the present, you can't sit down with yourself and identify things that real problems, like real deal problems that are going on in your life, and things that you don't really like and things that you want to change, but maybe you just don't have the belief in yourself that you can. But I think if you're consistent and you're willing to be present and you're willing to endure the process and you're willing to honestly be vulnerable with yourself and just be like, all right, this is the issue, and just make the change. It's going to be hard, because I think honestly it's one of the hardest things in life, just sitting down and looking at yourself and being like, dang, like I'm actually dealing with this, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm kind of anxious about it, and you're just kind of antsy about it, and you're just kind of thinking the world's about to end. Reality, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I deal with dark times, everyone does, but you just have to believe that it will play out, it'll play out the best it can, and you just have to, if it's a quote unquote loss, you gotta, evaluate that and, go over that with yourself. If it's a win, go over that with yourself and be okay with patting yourself on the back and be like, all right, yeah, I did that. And, I'm just going to keep progressing. Obviously, you don't want to dwell in that and, stay stagnant. Like, oh, I ran a 502 mile in high school. Just do nothing with your life after that. But, I just think a lot of times we just keep going and it just masks things that we're dealing with on the low, and just things that we don't really like in our lives, and things that are kind of hurting us in a way. But anyway, that was the episode. Well, I don't think this is the latest episode I've ever recorded. I think the one I recorded with my dad that got lost. I threw that hard drive away this morning. Poor hard drive. But anyway, that was today's episode. Questions. I think questioning can be beneficial, can be detrimental if you, kind of obsess over that and just make it all consuming rather than being all in and learning and, getting better. But I just want y'all to know, just be patient if you haven't gotten what you wanted in life yet, and you haven't, I guess, won yet, even though winning is a lifelong thing. Just know that if you're patient, and even it's going to be discouraging, I'm going to warn you, it's going to be discouraging. Like, dang, I'm not making any progress. But before you know it, if you stay in it, it's going to happen. And you just keep building from there. But anyway, that was this week's episode 73. I love all y'all, and I'm going to see y'all next time.